Romantic Revels 1780 to 1830. Romantic poets return to nature. The first 30 years of the 19th century are marked by a cluster of poets with certain common characteristics. Romantic Revels is a label that has been attached to them by the textbook. The label is only an attempt to show how their work differed from that of their producer, the Augustan poets. The term romantic revolt is also used to indicate the reaction of these writers to the trends in the 18th century literature. The term romantic movement or the romantic revels is applied to the movement in European literature and other arts. It begins toward the end of 18th century, emphasizing the imagination and the emotion over the reason and the intellect and the revolting against the conventional strictness of the neoclassicism. The movement is labeled as a romantic revels because it significant a return to the imaginative flavor of the Elizabethan age. It tried to recapture the first flush of romanticism in the Elizabethan age. The leading characteristics of romanticism are individualism, nature worship, primitivism, a fondness for the Middle Age, the Orient, and the philosophic idealism, revolt against political authority and social convention, the cultivation of the emotion and the sensation for their own sake, a persistent attraction for the supernatural, the morbid, and the melancholy. There was paradoxical tendency toward the both free thoughts and religious mysticism. Okay. In searching for the cause, we may interrupt the moment partly as a psychological reaction to the growing complexity of an increasingly mechanized industrial and scientific civilization, which come into the began with the industrial revolution of the mid 18th century. Okay, the movement has, however, many faces and trends. Romanticism means many things that contact diverse trends from thoughts and feeling. Professor A.O. Lovejoy was used the term romanticism in the plural in the essay on the discrimination of romanticism. However, according to Rene Welk, the common feature of romantic movement give it a sort of unity. Romanticism is the very antithesis of all it expressed by the classical idea. Historically, it comes as the counter movement of the English classicism. It's somewhat difficult to define it as it includes so much that it seems to be contradictory motivated. It has been variously described as a renaissance of the wonder, the return of nature, the rivals of the Middle Age, the basement of the indecent, the heart's distance, and so on. In fact, it includes all these, and it is something more. Okay, the Romantic poets all had a deep interest in nature, and as a center of the beautiful sense, but as an informing and spiritual influence on life. It appears that they were frightened by the coming of industrialism and the nightmare towns of industry, and so they were turning to the nature for the protection. It appears that the declining strength of traditional religious belief, men were making a religious from the spirituality of their religious experiences. The Romantic poets are industrialist, subjectively characterism the highest type of romanticism. The Romantic poets valued their own experience to the degree with it difficult to parallel in earlier poets. Spenser,